Welcome to the PBC 2020 NBA Draft Remote Film Room. My name is Jon Chepkevich, Director of Scouting for the PBC, and joining me today is 2020 NBA Draft early entrant Darius Days. What's going on, Darius?
Hey, how you doing? Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for everything you presenting this to me. Thank you.
Of course, man. Excited to have you on. I think you're a really intriguing, kind of under the radar prospect as a sophomore that, you took on somewhat of a role player role as a freshman, started getting your feet wet, and then this year really kind of burst onto the scene and started expanding your game a little bit. And I think you have a pretty interesting combination of, inside, outside game and skill that you bring to the table. So wanted to kind of go through your game film, talk through, some of the things that translate really cleanly to the next level, maybe some minor areas to tweak and improve on going forward that'll make your game that much more well-rounded for your eventual NBA career.
Right.
Cool, man. Well, let's hop into the game film here. We're going to start on the offensive side of the ball. We're going to hit on your versatility here because, like what I was saying, you kind of bring a little bit both near the rim and away from the rim. So digging into the numbers, one thing that stood out to me was that you convert at the rim at a 75% plus clip, which is ridiculous, right? You're really strong around the rim. That comprises about a third of your total shots. And then a little over half of the shots that you take are from 3-point range, right? So that's a really nice modern shot selection, and that's what you like to see. So we're going to hit on both of those aspects of your game right now. So on this first clip here, you're going to see that you're kind of relocating up at the top for just a nice clean catch and shoot here.
Right.
Do you think that, your kind of eventual role in the NBA, do you think you could be a nice sort of like stretch four that can, bang around inside, but also space the floor out like this?
Most definitely. I try to do that in college as well. Space the floor out, make everybody play committed defense.
Yeah, and I mean, on here, I think is that Blackshear chasing you out there?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
But most of the game, they had a guard, Keontae Johnson, guard me as well. They didn't want me to get too many shots off.
Yeah, so that kind of goes to show your versatility and that they had to kind of switch up multiple guys to figure out who's the best to try to slow you down, right? It's tough for a big guy like this to guard you because, he's kind of helping out inside here a lot and not able to recover the whole way out on you fast enough because you have that quick trigger release from three. And then when they get these guards on you, you can kind of bang around on them inside, right?
Right.
So we'll move on to this next clip here. And I think this is, an area that you've shown some capability in, but can continue to improve on is pick and pops, right? Because that could be your bread and butter at the next level is kind of coming up here, setting these screens and popping out for a 3-point look here. So you want to maybe talk me through on this one. Was this a set play or did you just kind of come up and at this point, based on what was happening here, decide to kind of just slip through and pop out?
Well, what's really going on in this play is basically, everything is based off the screen and spacing the floor. Like, for an example, you had Javonte in the corner, and you had Andre High in the corner, and you had Trenton trailing. Then I was already down there in the left corner, low post. And Trenton goes through, I go set the screen at the top. The floor is spaced. And then I just slipped through because the big that was guarding me was going to commit to the ball because Kosar was already stuck on the screen. So Kosar had to get through, but the big had to step up. So I slipped through to the left side, to the high wing, and I was wide open. But for an example, Keyshawn Bryant just ran out to me as well. It was too far of a run to get from where he was on the second one by the post to get back to me. So I was basically wide open. And then if he would have committed, I could have kicked it to Andre for an open three.
Exactly, right? That's great recognition by you to see all aspects of that play and what all your teammates are doing that, ultimately leads to this look here and also what your counters would have been if they would have played it differently, right? So
exactly.
That was awesome. I like how, if I rewind this back a little bit here too, when you come through and start slipping through this screen, you kind of like get your hand on his back and use that to kind of pop you out quickly here. And like you said, this guy was just too deep. He had to respect the shooter in the corner. And then once you saw there was that much space, you were just going to drain that.
Right.
So the pick and pop, for sure, something to keep working on that'll translate nicely to the next level. Here, I think we're in the same game here, just a little further on.
Right.
Another little pick and pop action, but headed to the right. So I like that you have the versatility to be able to get into your pick and pop shot coming from either direction there, right?
Right.
Is there anything, I guess, a little different about this one and how you were reading and reacting to this one here?
Can you restart it?
Previous.
Can you restart it?
Yeah.
Okay, so basically we were jumbled up already. Bad spacing.
Right.
But then everybody started to go to their positions, and I was already at the top, so I touched the free throw line and came back and set the screen, and everybody was already spaced and worrying about their man. It wasn't, playing great help side defense for anybody. They was huddled up to their man, so I was basically wide open. But then again, the person that was guarding me had to, commit to the ball and see when he committed to the ball. Javonte got over to the, free throw line, extending on the left side. I was wide open again for, step into my shot.
Yeah, and you look really comfortable taking that. And I think your teammate here does a really good job of kind of relocating down to the corner to draw this guy away here, right? Because then that forces your original man to really have to stunt out on this guard after the pick and roll. And you just perfectly recognize that step up here. This is still about from NBA range, right? You've got that range, that capability, step right into it.
But if Charles didn't slide down to the corner, the other guy, number 52, would have, made Javonte stop earlier. But then again, we had to kick to Charles, and Charles could rip through left, and that's a layup right there. Or after Charles ripped through, I could have cut to the basket. Just anything like that.
Yes, exactly. So again, I really like how you're able to kind of see all of that, even though the play ended with you sticking a three, all the other options off of it. So this time we're going to focus on your ability to kind of drive to the rim off of attacking the closeout, right? So this ends up being a goaltend. But, you come up here, kind of a broken play a little bit, right? Feed it to the post, looking to maybe catch it, look for a kick back out for the three. It's a bad pass, but you're able to catch this with one hand and kind of smoothly get yourself into the paint here, drive past your guy, and take off from the SEC logo there, kind of force him into a tough situation. So, not too much else to talk about on that one, but I just thought it's encouraging to see that you're able to take a broken play like this, because if this is a good pass, you're sticking this three like in those previous two clips. But you take the broken play and make the best of it here. Now, this next one, I think, really exemplifies what you bring to the table. You know how we were talking about how you're, 75% finisher at the rim. I think high 60% shooter on all 2-point attempts. And this is just your energy, right? I think this is one of your biggest aspects of your game, is just sticking with plays and not giving up on plays, right? Seems like you missed the first one that Kentucky's bringing down the board, but you stick with it and keep fighting. You want to maybe speak to your mentality, in attacking the offensive glass and not giving up on plays and earning your team extra possessions.
See, what happened in this play, what happened was, Trenton missed the layup. I grabbed the rebound. I tried to put it up too fast. I was off balance. And then, I tried to get the rebound. But then again, like I paid attention the way he quickly, tried to dribble the ball before he had possession. And I grabbed it right before he picked the ball up. And then Keon Brooks came over and tried to, it should have been an and one, but, that's fine. 2 points is 2 points. But it should have been an and one. I feel, but it's a high level game, so the ref's not really calling too many fouls like that. So it's a good game.
Yeah, and it's just your I'm sure with your physicality, sometimes you're able to take a lot more from the defense, and sometimes refs aren't going to call that because you're so strong and it doesn't really look as much like a foul to them, but you're getting hit pretty hard here. But you just have the physicality and strength to fight through it and convert anyways. Do you think that, your ability to create these second possessions and keep fighting on the glass, do you think that might be your calling card when you eventually head to the NBA? We already talked about the stretch element, which is key for a modern forward, but do you think that you'll be able to earn minutes and stay on the court by providing this effort and just getting after it on the
provide effort like that, that just give you more opportunity to win games. More possessions mean more points, and more points mean you're going home with a victory. So, I mean, if that's my calling card, I'm gonna take the opportunity and make the best of it.
For sure. And I mean, it's kind of rare to have guys that can hit the offensive glass that hard and stretch it out to three. So I think that makes your game very conducive to translating to the next level.
Right.
So here we're moving on, just another clean pick and pop again, right? Just wanted to get one more of those in there. I think that you really excel at that. This time we're just going to hit on, potential area for improvement. You have the pick and pop possessions that you've been we've already hit on a few times as being really comfortable with.
Right.
This time you kind of relocate, you're looking for a pick and pop. It's not there. Plays breaking down. Eventually your guard does draw all this defense. And, when you get to the next level, these corner threes are the, some of the most efficient shots on the court, right? Like they're at the NBA 3-point line. The corner three is much shorter than the rest of it. And a lot of times you'll find yourself spotting up here for these driving kicks. Just want to get, comfortable with these open catch and shoot opportunities there and be able to convert those a little more consistently.
Right.
Do you think that your jump shooting, right? Obviously we've talked about your physicality, some of the pick and pop stuff, but is your jump shooting something that you're repping out a lot during this pre-draft process?
Most definitely. Even if I shot very well, even if I did, I would still be working on my jump shot a lot more from mid-range and as three as well. Yeah,
for sure. Because I think you're probably a better 3-point shooter than the numbers even indicate. So, unfortunately, with the lack of a normal pre-draft process right now, you can't really get in the gym in front of these NBA teams and kind of show them that in a workout setting. But something that you can just keep working on and keep developing. And, eventually teams are going to be able to see that and know that you are able to space the floor and knock these down. So we'll move on to the next one here, this time against Florida.
Right there, I didn't have the shot at first,
right?
Because Blackshear was, playing back. He was playing trending for the drive at the elbow. And like I thought I had the shot, but he recovered really fast. So I had kicked it back to Trendon. Then I tried to relocate, but then Trendon tried to drive. And so he went down to the toes.
Yeah, kind of clogged it up a little bit there, right?
Yeah, it got clogged up in there. So,
Yeah, so you kind of just, that's good recognition by you that firstly, to not force up a tough contested three, right? Like we wanted to hit on that first because Blackshear does a good job of stunning out to Trendon and then getting back to you and recovering in time. You don't force it, but then you end up in a tough spot here. And, at this point, I understand the look here. Like you kind of bring it back across his face and kind of like that, but it ends up being a pretty tough shot here. Do you think maybe with 15 seconds on the shot clock that you could have, done something differently in this situation?
Most definitely. But I mean, in the middle of the game, like, you're not really just like thinking, like looking at the clock, just make something happen. But, I could have drove the ball into the SEC, kicked it to Javonte, and, we could have ran something else. But, it was just in the mode of the game.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And that's going to happen. But I think if you can add that element of like on these drives, because you draw so much help defense, right? Like look how far this guy has to dig in on you and try to help out, right? The paint is pretty congested at this point. If you can add that extra element of having your head up for these driving kicks and hit these guys that are spaced out on the three, I think that'll really open up a lot of things for you and make you all that much more valuable on the offensive end.
Right.
And, even at the end of this possession, we see you're still fighting, you're still hustling, right? So even one of the things that's in kind of the improvement areas here, there's a lot of positive to be gleaned from it.
Right.
So now we on this clip, firstly, nice defense here, right? Like you're covering this guy at the top of the key and, maybe this is a scouting report thing that
Yeah, it's crazy because it was a scouting report. You never know, like people with the numbers and analytics and things, like saying people can't really shoot that well.
Sure.
Because in the middle of the game, someone might, just knock down a couple threes. But the scouting report was, don't go out the paint and just play back. But if he hit a couple, we're gonna readjust. But he didn't shoot any, so I just played back. He tried to get the ball to Kosar, and I, stole the ball.
Yeah, and knowing personnel like that and being keyed in on the scouting reports in the film, that's going to be huge for the next level, and that's often what differentiates young players from their peers, right? The ones that are able to pick up on that stuff and key in on that and keep that in the back of their mind during the games, right? So, great job by you to dig in there, get this steal, and now we start coming down on the fast break. You're filling this left wing over here to the corner. Get pass to you, and then this comes back to what we were talking about before with like the drive and kick stuff, right? Just get a little more comfortable with this will be huge for you, right? Kind of like leave your feet a little bit on this one, try to feed it to this guy diving, and maybe he could have caught that still, right? But regardless, that's kind of a tough situation for that big, and ultimately could have ended up with a little cleaner of a possession here, right?
Right. Then again, we still have 23 seconds on the clock. So, I could have gave it back to who's that? Marlon. I could have gave it back to Marlon. He would have gave it to Javonte, would have ran the clock out. Basically, more likely probably a ball screen, get somebody open, kick the ball. But,
yeah,
live and learn.
Yeah, exactly. Right. That's what this is all about. Like sometimes it's easy when you make that impact play on the other end, get down here to the corner, have a chance to expand the lead here after halftime, to get a little overzealous and excited and want to make something happen at that point. Exactly what you said, though. Maybe you could have just kicked it back out, reset, and you get a good look later in the possession. Right. Cool. So moving on to the next clip here, I think we're going to move over to a game against Kentucky again. You're down here in this weak side corner, relocate up to the top here, drive in on Maxey, and ultimately you end up getting the offensive board again, right? So not, when it's all said and done, not the worst possession, but you probably have a strength advantage on Maxey, even though he's a tough fire hydrant guard, but end up taking like a kind of tough contested runner here, right?
Right.
Probably one of the more like tougher, more inefficient shots in basketball. What do you think you could have done here, especially when you see this big man helping out?
I could have jump stopped, and then Richardson would have helped over, dump off the Emmett, and then if Ashton would have helped in with Emmett, I could have faked the Emmett and gave it to Skylar in the corner for 3.
Yeah.
But if everything else would have failed, we still got 16 seconds on. Well, after that, we'll still have 12 seconds left on the clock. And then if everything else fails, take it out the Trinity, give it to Javonte, everybody get flat or something, and Javonte go one-on-one or something and make something happen for somebody or hit himself.
Yeah, exactly. And I think this again comes to, you obviously have this scoring gravity and you can get to the paint almost at will. You see this guy's already loading up to try to help contest your shot. Just a simple little kick to the corner here. That's a wide open 3-point attempt, and a wide open 3, probably a higher percentage look on an expected value perspective than a tough runner that's contested by 2 guys, right?
Right.
Now we're moving on to the defensive side of the ball, and we'll run this back from the top because that happens pretty quickly there. So maybe you want to tell me what you're seeing right here.
What's going on? We have 2 people at the. Can you play 2 seconds, please?
Yeah.
2 more seconds, please.
Yeah. I'll start back at the top here and there.
Okay, so what's going on is I'm in the corner guard, but then again you have they're in a horn set.
Yep.
What's going to happen? More than likely, someone's going to set a screen because Mason's going to try to go 1-on-1 every time he touches the ball. So basically, what's really going to happen is somebody going to set a screen or a shadow screen, and he's going to try to go right-handed 1-on-1 or step back and shot.
Yep.
But most times, I had to help with that because he's a great scorer. So
yeah, and it's let's start this again here from the top. So exactly what you said, right? You have the horn set. Your teammate tries jumping this, right? And then everything gets a little off kilter. So what we wanted to touch on was your ability to, make these smart rotations and stay disciplined amidst all this chaos, right? So you do a really nice job here of sliding over and helping, and then being able to recover to your man still. So things break down, tries to jump the horn set here. His guy dives to the block here, and look at you right here. Like you're kind of pointing this out and seeing what's happening. What's your kind of reaction in this moment? And what's your rotation?
I'm guarding Adriel Bailey, so he's not. I mean, he's like he can knock it down from three, but he's not like a shooter like Isaiah Joe. That's who Mason's. Right. I think that's who Mason's throwing the ball to, Isaiah Joe. You know, that in the paint or 3-point, like that's a layup for Isaiah Joe. So like, I'd rather Isaiah Joe pass the ball to the corner to Bailey, and I can try to recover and get back quicker than him giving us 2 points. But he didn't catch the ball cleanly, so he skipped it out to Bailey. And so Bailey tried to shoot. I got back, he missed, and we going back the other way.
Yeah, and just, again, knowing personnel, right? Knowing who's more of a threat, both high level Isaiah Joe is more of a threat as a scorer, and situationally here down on the block. So awesome job of getting over there, helping, making it a tough pass, and then getting back and recovering to your man and contesting the shot enough, right?
Right.
So next we've got Texas A&M here.
Right. I love playing against him. He's a very strong, big. He kind of gave us a problem. Nebo kind of gave us a problem at Texas A&M. He had a big double game. My coaches basically tell him, force him out and don't let him, get any room to make any plays. So me and Trenton crowded him, and he turned the ball over. We're going the other way now for 2.
Yeah. And I think, firstly, let's take this from the very beginning here. You do an awesome job of he's a big dude, right? And you're doing a great job of keeping him out of the paint. Like, great job of staying low, using some physicality to keep him from catching it in a spot that he's comfortable with, right?
Exactly.
Is that your kind of MO when you're guarding up a little bit and guarding some big guys? Because I think you can guard some 5s even, because you've got that strength and can do this and keep them out of the paint.
Yes, this year, I played the 5 on defense, but the 4 on offense.
Right.
But guarding those big guys, I've always guarded big guys.
Yeah.
Even in high school, we played 4 guards, 1 big in high school when I played at IMG. Yeah. But other than that, just being physical and being low, because if you're low, they can't move you.
Right.
So that gives me an advantage to be like, I'm 6'7", they might be like, 6'10", 6'11", 7 foot or something like that. That just gives me the edge a little bit.
Yeah, and I think that's where the game is moving, right? Like, guys that can play the 4 but can slide down and play small ball 5 and still hang with these bigger bigs. That's, very sought after in today's NBA, and you can definitely do that. And, after he catches it here too, right? Trendon comes in doubles, and in these situations, sometimes it's easy to get a little bit over aggressive and maybe foul here, but you do a great job of keeping your hands straight up, discipline the trap, and just, it looks like this guy's wide open under the rim, and if you didn't trap like that and have your hands straight up, that's an easy pass for him. So you do a great job of cutting that off, forcing him to try to make a tough pass, and you get your hand in there, cause a turnover. So just really great job on that one.
Right. Right here, I'm in help. Coach went out, set the down screen for one of his guys. Then he comes back out. He's going to come to the middle. He's going to come back to the middle. He's going to catch the ball and try to go middle.
Right. So here we go. Now you're on ball.
Right. I was just solid.
Yeah, exactly. So there's multiple facets of this play, right? Both your off-ball defense and, staying disciplined, help line, all that good stuff. And then on ball, forcing him into a really tough low percentage attempt, right? So exactly what you're speaking to here, you can see that you're in a great help position, right? Kind of, able to key in on this guy with the ball, but still recover to yours. And then he's, weak side corner, and he's not a huge shooting threat, right? So you can be the whole way in the paint like this, right?
Right.
and then he relocates, comes around, and once he gets it back here, what's the scouting report on him, and what are you expecting him to do, and like ultimately what kind of shot do you want to force him into?
Good question. He can knock down that shot. Don't get me wrong. Like, sure, anybody can knock down an open shot, but my coach told us the scouting report was play back and then force him right, because he's a left-hand shooter. Force him right. So like,
force him to cross that over there.
Right. He had, like, when he crossed over, I had to beat him to the spot and commit on the ball. And then after that, I seen him. He wanted to like jump because he couldn't pass me, because if he got past me, he would have had my help. And then Charles would have had to come down, and then Marlon would have had to rotate over to the corner to Kuznar. But then I went straight up, and I forced him to a tough shot, and I was solid. Grabbed the rebound.
Yeah, exactly. And like, this kind of shot right here as a defender, that's what you want guys taking. These kind of like off balance floaters from just outside the paint, right? You live with that shot every day.
Most definitely.
So again, great defense. Great job pulling down this board. And now we got one more clip from this game here to highlight. So same matchup again, and similar thing, right? He catches it in the high post. You maintain good position. When he catches this in the high post, where are you trying to force him at that point in time?
I backed up a little bit, and like I knew he wasn't going to just take the drive. I mean, I knew he was going to like try to drive. I know he didn't want to shoot it,
right?
So I backed up, and then I let him try to drive where he wanted to go, and then I stood straight up and stayed solid. He took a right hand hook shot from the SEC. I mean, some people can hit that, but that's tough.
Yeah, and like you said, he likes to go left, so forcing him to go over his left shoulder with the right hand like that from that far out. Again, great defense, and most of good defense is forcing people into uncomfortable situations. You do it again and get a good disciplined closeout again. So great job on that one as well. So on the potential improvement areas on defense.
Right, on this part, we were down. We was down. So we was trying to do anything possible.
Yeah.
It was like coming out of halftime, my coach gave us a great speech. We gotta execute on offense, execute on defense, and I was just trying to make a play. But then, when you gamble, sometimes it costs you.
Exactly, right? And, sometimes it's fine to gamble. You got to mix that in every once in a while, right? You got to make some impact plays, and you do that quite frequently. This one, just a little bit late, ends up being a wide open layup. And, like you said, you had that energy coming out of the gate of halftime, but, when you kind of take a risk like this, it can put you in a little bit more of a hole. So just, picking and choosing your spots when to take those risks, I think, is just a minor potential thing to, keep in the back of your head. This time, I think you're matched up against Sestina here. You get a little bit of a, you're dropping against this pick and roll, and he ends up missing the shot. But
see, what happened was in the ball screen coverage we were in help basically, and so when Sestina came and set the screen, Skylar was hooked on the screen, so I had to stay for like a longer period of time that I wanted to stay. I had to help him out, and then I got down lower almost to the SEC. And then Sestina was wide open, and I had to, get back on my man. I mean, luckily he missed, but, that's something I can work on, getting back to the ball quicker, or even getting closer to the ball. Because, for example, Tyrese, he could have hit me with a hesitation and laid the ball on the left side, or he could have threw it over and went to the right side, and then Javonte would have had to commit and quickly wide open for a three. So,
yeah, exactly. I mean, that all makes sense, and that's all exactly like the kind of branches of this play, right? But the minor potential improvement area thing here, I think, is you do the right thing, and you recognize that Skylar got hooked on the screen, and you're helping on Maxey for a little, and you're good till like right here, right? Like at this point, you're still in a position where you could probably get back out and close out to Sestina, but you end up dropping just like an extra little half step there, right, to that point where you probably didn't need to at that point because Skylar had recovered enough, right? So those little kind of like split second differences, he luckily misses this one, but if you had that extra step or half step, you get out there and he doesn't even get off a clean look.
Right.
So as you progress to the next level, they're going to be running a ton of pick and roll, and you're going to be guarding the bigs a lot in these pick and roll situations. And a lot of these guys are going to be able to pop and stick that. So just kind of being able to get that feel for playing that balancing game in between helping on the ball handler and recovering back to your guy, right?
Right.
Is that something that's something that's hard to work on by yourself, right? Because it's a team concept. So right now, maybe it's not something that you can necessarily pull off and work on, but is that something that, digging into your film, do you kind of like to watch all these pick and roll possessions where you're on D and kind of nitpick like minor areas that you can probably take that forward and, implement that into your
Yes, exactly. For an example, like, can you play it for a second? Like, I could have been closer to Skylar. He shouldn't even got that low.
Right.
Like, I should have stopped him at like the regular 3-point line. I should have been there on like Skylar, like on Sestina's hip, and then he would have threw the ball back to Sestina, and then Sestina, I would have rotated back. Sestina would have threw it quickly, and then it probably went into like either a pin down or a dribble handoff. See, that's something I can work on personally. It's basically just effort.
Yeah, right. And so, right now I'm sure you can get some workouts in here and there, but like maybe some of the best way to spend your time now is just like doing stuff like this, going through the film. And like, even if you have one or two minor takeaways from doing some film study here in the pre-draft process, could make a huge difference for you, right? So I think this is the last play here, and this is against Auburn. So again, this guy ends up missing the shot, and maybe you live with that shot, but I think we're highlighting a similar thing here of like a little bit of an overhelp, right?
Right.
So we'll see your guys' weak side. I think it might be Macklemore over here. And, Trendon's ISO'd out at the top here. You try to come dig across here, and you're the whole way across the help line. Seems like Trendon kind of has him contained enough, right? Do you think maybe you could have just like balanced this out a little bit more and maybe not committed as hard to the help on this one? Or
that's a great question. Like, it's a high level game, and you just thinking like trying to do the right things,
Yeah.
but like, basically what I was doing, I was just trying to be a help. Like I was just trying to help Trendon out because if Okoro would have, got this, if I wasn't there with Okoro off the spin, that's the easy right hook jump shot.
Yeah.
Like, just like pay attention, like right after he spin, cut it. Like if I wasn't there, that's a jump. I mean, that's a jump hook, right jump hook. But then again, I understand where you're coming from. Like, I have to balance it out. I should have been like, my legs should have been split between like, the outside of the paint.
Yeah, and Okoro is obviously a big threat, right? Like that
right.
dude play. And he's also a good passer, right? Like he makes good reads at the forward position to be able to kick that out and find that. So, great recognition by him. So not necessarily like a terrible read by you, like going and cutting off their best player, right? But just kind of like if you would have just been a little more balanced in helping on Okoro and being able to recover to your guy, then get a little bit more of a hand. But ultimately, knowing the scouting report, knowing personnel ends up with a positive result when it's all said and done, right?
Right.
So that's all the film that I have. So, as you can see, diving into all these different plays, there's always multiple aspects of it, right? The ones that are in the strengths area, there are minor little aspects of the play to maybe key in on to improve, and same vice versa, right? So, just felt like right now, given the uncertainty in the pre-draft process and lack of availability of like getting out to teams and doing workouts, that digging through this film would be good exercise. And I enjoyed hearing your perspective on all these different aspects of how you see the game.
Right.
So as you sort of continue forward into the pre-draft process here, I know they recently announced that they're extending the NCAA withdrawal deadline from June 3rd kind of indefinitely, given the fact that the NBA draft combine has been postponed and all of those sorts of things. what is your sort of focus right now as the next couple of weeks progress and you're, feeling out the pre-draft process? Are you going to be interviewing with teams? What's sort of your focus for the next, 2 to 4 weeks?
But I had, one interview. I'm just working on myself. I'm not really worried about anything going on. I mean, I'm worried, coronavirus and stuff like that. I'm worried, but at the same time, I'm just trying to get better and work on me, and just work on things that people say I can get better in, with either more shooting, dribbling, getting to the basket, stop relying on my jump shot as much, and rebound at an elite level.
Yeah, exactly. And, just continuing to shore up those things and keep working on your game. That's the best thing that you can do right now. And I think that, as teams start digging through your tape and play some catch up here, they're going to realize, how translatable your game theoretically is to the NBA level. So excited to see how everything plays out for you. But before we wrap up here, just wanted to, sort of give you the stage to speak directly to these NBA teams. So who is Darius Days? And if a team is to bring you into their organization, what can they expect from you both on and off the court?
Darius Days, I'm a hardworking guy. I'm relentless to the glass. I don't have any troubles off the court. I work hard on the court. I'm a good locker room guy. I love being around people. I would be cool with all my teammates. I wouldn't be cool with one group of people. I'm just a great person to be around, and I would just love an opportunity and just show y'all what I have.
Yeah, man, that's a great attitude to have, and I'm sure that all teams are looking for a guy who, can contribute in multiple ways and, is able to get along with their teammates and fit into, the NBA context as like a hybrid forward like you that brings a lot to the table. So, Darius, thank you very much for your time. Appreciate you joining. Best of luck with the rest of the pre-draft process here, and stay safe, man.
Thank you for the opportunity. All right, PBC fans, thank y'all. Hope y'all enjoy it.